Yesterday was a funny day of action because one of the favorites at the start of the season, the second, if I remember correctly, according to power rankings at the start of the season, the Los Angeles Lakers have now been eliminated from playoff contention. So we have a ton of content to talk about. We should get right into it. Let's get started. The Lakers are out. Uh, the top 10 in the West are confirmed in whatsoever order. Most of the order is also confirmed, but maybe a little bit of shuffling here and there is possible. The Minnesota Timberwolves are almost confirmed to be a play-in team. They just need one loss, or the Nuggets to win one more game to confirm that. The Pelicans and Spurs will be in the play-in. The Clippers will be in play-in. The Lakers, at the start of the season, when you assemble this huge Avengers-like squad with 5 future Hall of Famers, even if you don't win the chip, you're expected to finish at least in the top 10 when you have only 15 teams competing. It's inexplicable, honestly, especially when you have LeBron playing at least 55 of those games. Many of those games, AD missed, of course, but AD played a few games, and then Russell Westbrook played almost every game. I don't know what to make of this. Now you've been following Lakers from almost 20 years now.
Yeah.
Is this the most disappointing season for you?
No, there have been plenty of seasons.
No, I know there have been seasons with
like
17 wins
expectation
and all
was
of
a
that.
disappointment.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
Sure. Easily. This tops even the season when the only common factor in both is Dwight Howard's involvement. The last time he showed up also, I mean, this is prior to the bubble. The last time he showed up, he made the big switch and I'm not there's something there. I think this is the same time around about when Chris Paul was supposed to happen and
Right,
the league would have stopped with that.
2012-ish.
That would have had a. I mean, Chris Paul would have had a chip. Kobe would have had a sixth. This whole LeBron thing wouldn't. It's LeBron versus MJ directly would have been first surpass Kobe then we talk MJ. A lot of things, ripple effects, but whatever. The rest is history. Chris Paul's move didn't happen, and then they got Dwight Howard, and then they got Steve Nash, and I thought this is it. This is the season. But at least they made the playoffs in that season.
Yeah.
Come what may. I mean, they sucked. D'Antoni couldn't figure out shit. Kobe Bryant had to just do basically what Westbrook did with Wizards last season, except a little more tough, a little more aggressive. Took them to the playoffs and whatever. Then the ACL came and all that. That was probably the biggest drop from expectation to final outcome. This is something else. This is not even getting bounced in the first round. This is they didn't make the play-ins. Forget the playoffs. They made the play-ins, and I mean the media called it. The media said this is nonsense. You put so many oldies together. What the hell? And I still had optimism.
Yeah, we had optimism till 2 weeks ago, I think.
Sure, but for the life of me, I could not understand why Westbrook. This was even before the season. We have episodes where I've said this. Where, I mean, if you could get DeRozan, and this was before we knew how good DeRozan would be this season. This is before I knew that you would have an MVP caliber season. I said, if you've got DeRozan, Lowry, and Hield on the table, why the fuck would you give up all that to go for Russell Westbrook? It's inexplicable what they did. And for this, LeBron would absolutely have to take the burden for that. So the media is right. You know what? It was a bunch of has-beens. Future Hall of Famers, great. Carmelo was done. Dwight Howard was done like a decade ago. They got the last juice out of him in the 2020 season. Westbrook, worst season ever for him. He's done. So these are future Hall of Famers, but right now pretty much all of them are shit. And that's not to talk about the rest of the squad, which is a joke. Just read the names in the rest of the squad. Stanley Johnson, TST, what the fuck? This is the Lakers?
Austin Reeves, Kendrick Nunn, who didn't even show up even for one game. Ken Bazemore. We've kind of had our best hopes for the Lakers, or at least the best case scenario for the Lakers, at least until 1 month ago. Like, you put AD and LeBron back, they'll make it happen. Something would happen, right? I mean, I know the writing was on the wall, but still there was that glimmer of hope because you've seen these guys do this before. And you put LeBron in a team, you're supposed to be a contender, whatever team that might be. Now, that was not happening. This was written all over from the start. If you remember, in the preseason, they went 6-0. They lost 6 games in a row. The squad never really fit in together. There was a scuffle at the start of the season, Dwight and AD, if you remember.
Yeah.
Vogel was under fire right from December, I think, when they started losing a few games. And the first stretch of losses, his job was not cemented, you could say that. Then he benched Russ in a game during overtime, and Russ spoke about it out in the media. The trade deadline, there was a lot of chatter around the trade deadline. Even though the Lakers didn't really have any assets, they were like, they wanted to get in Wood, not Wood, what's his name, Wall, John Wall, and it was not working out. I mean, this was written all over. If LeBron was not in this team, you would have written this team off long ago. I don't know what to say. And if you remember AD's comments from a week ago, he said the Phoenix Suns got lucky last season and that AD was injured and LeBron was injured and they kind of ran. I think that was a little sour in taste. I mean, what do you make of that comment? I mean, you lost, you just take the loss and move on, right? What did you make of that?
I think I don't want to make anything of anything that anyone in this squad has said all year. It's a fucking shame that nobody is putting their hand up and saying we fucked up. This is terrible. This is not what anyone should expect from players of our caliber and leaders of our caliber. We fucked up. We're sorry, and we're thinking of what to do next season. End of story. Don't even have to say sorry if you don't want to. We fucked up. Take ownership. And that's where again this is a knock on LeBron. There are these little kinks where he allows some cracks in his otherwise perfect resume and his otherwise perfect armor. I just exposes him so badly at times, and when people are searching for just anything on you to pull you down, you're not making it easy with all these nonsense comments. I mean, at the start of the year, the media said they're all old. This is hardly the making of a championship team, and they were right. We were foolishly optimistic. They were right. And what happened? Like everyone got all emotional about it. LeBron's like, "Oh, remember this when we do blah blah blah."
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Could have just said wait to see how we perform, but no, we had to go for swag. Okay, that's personality, cool. All right, let's wait. Halfway through the season, 3/4 of the way through the season, you're sitting in fucking 11th place in the season. At no point did people come out and say, "Yeah, this is garbage. We're playing like ass, and this is not what we intended." How long was it ago that LeBron tweeted, "Keep this energy when we do whatever in the play"? Are you serious, man? Oh fuck! It's just pathetic to see this sort of everyone just pointing fingers, nobody's taking accountability, and this after the overconfidence that we saw earlier.
Yeah, you mentioned perfect resume just a while ago. Does this season mark a blot? Is a blot on his perfect resume because you were being compared to Michael Jordan and how he had 6 finals wins and 6 finals MVPs, and now LeBron was chasing that crown. But you played in quite a strong team with at least one other superstar. I know he was injured for half the season, but he's a superstar and he's in the team, and you did not make it to the top 10. Is this a blot on his otherwise perfect resume?
It's not otherwise perfect, though, right? I brought this up before when I said, very recently, I remember when I said, objectively, yes, he won a chip in 2020.
Yeah.
Then he started having a slew of injuries. This is after 2019, when for the first time we saw LeBron show signs of vulnerability in terms of fitness, where he missed a ton of games and eventually the squad wasn't good enough to carry on without him, and boom, no playoffs. But that's okay. He missed most of the season. They had nobody then. Cool. Then won the chip. Great. What do you expect?
Yeah.
Next season, injuries resurface. AD does an AD. And he gets bounced for the first time in his life in round 1 of the playoffs. And at no point did they look convincing except for one game when AD came back. He struggled again with injury in that playoff series. So now the injuries seem to be coming thick and fast. This season he's missed a bunch of games. I think he's not even eligible for a scoring title because
he needs to play the next 2.
Yeah.
He needs to play the next one. That'd be exciting as well. Will he play or not?
It'll be sad. It's so pathetic if he goes for it.
Yep.
Like just sit out, just stop it now. Just end the embarrassment. You really that scoring title is doing nothing. It's going to do nothing for your profile. It's not going to make people think you're any greater than they already think you are. It's not going to pull your your level down if you don't get the scoring title. And nobody cares. Just let go. Anyway, that's secondary. Whatever he goes for it, doesn't go for it. That's petty. I mean, I actually don't know what to say with this one. Oh man, the lesser said the better. It's just an all-round train wreck. But yeah, so my whole point was: is this LeBron James is? Are we seeing the decline and not paying enough attention to it?
Because it's 4 years now.
First round, more injuries. More injuries, not even made the play.
Yep, exactly.
We keep saying he's infallible, and given, granted, this is unprecedented. Nobody at this age has played like this.
Yeah.
But it's not with a result. Why should I hold him accountable to any different level than, say, a Westbrook or anyone else that we lambast for empty stats?
Yep.
Like, people get butchered for empty stats. Even Jokic doesn't get the credit he's due because those are empty stats. They're sixth in the West or wherever they are.
Right.
Why should LeBron get away with it? The same LeBron 3-4 seasons ago, he would have dragged this bum-ass team to the playoffs, probably even to the conference finals or something. So it's not the same guy. I think maybe just maybe we're seeing the beginnings of a fall. Now, of course, you put a half-decent team around him. Can he go to the playoffs? Can he still be a contender? Absolutely. But maybe it's not the same LeBron we're seeing anymore. And it's the start of, father time punching back. Yeah.
On the brighter side for the Lakers now, let's look forward to what next. I mean, Frank Vogel is gone. I mean, I don't see a way in which he will continue to remain the coach of the Lakers. Do you see that happening? Is it a matter of when rather than if he gets fired?
I mean, any sport, any franchise league-based sport, you know what's going to happen next.
Yeah.
We know the climax. You've seen the interval bang. Yeah. You know the climax. The climax is the coach goes. The coach just has to go. In some cases, they resign. In some cases, they get booted. In some cases, they get booted behind doors, and then everyone comes out and says, he
mutual consent.
Yeah, whatever. He decided to step down. Whatever. The end outcome is, the coach doesn't. The coach doesn't continue. Right? That's pretty much.
But what next in terms of building a team? Now, Russell Westbrook as a player option, you would expect he would obviously take that because nobody's paying $44 million for him. So who's the fall guy here? Is it Anthony Davis? Do the Lakers for the first ever time, is LeBron James an expendable player? Can they trade LeBron? I'm sure there'll be takers for LeBron. Is that even a possibility?
Let's weigh this out. Vogel's gone. Casualty number one, for sure. Yeah. He's gone. And you shouldn't worry about it. I mean, he delivered a chip. Sure. Questions asked about his performance this season, but questions asked about everything about the org this season.
Yeah. He'll get a gig somewhere else.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he'll be one of the top guys.
For sure. So he's all right. He's out, but whatever. He's okay. Let's come to the big ones now. First of all, where is Rob Pelinka in all this? Because he put this shit together. Mm-hmm. I was listening to Magic Johnson on a number of shows where he said DeRozan wanted to come. And remember, he's an LA local. He grew up here.
Yeah. DeRozan said that himself. So
correct. And he spoke in so many different podcasts and interviews about how Toronto was so alien to him because of the climate and all that. Like he's a Lakers guy at heart. So he wanted to come. They made it clear he wanted to come. It just the Westbrook move happened, and that's it. They didn't really have time or space for anything else to happen. Yeah. Now, I don't know if that was Pelinka. I don't know if that was LeBron. I don't know if that was whoever. There had to have been finally a mutual sign-off from all three, regardless of who initiated this Westbrook move. Nobody outside of those three really understood or agreed with that move. Even I, who said old age doesn't matter if they can get together and play like a team. Which I don't know to what extent I was wrong, because I don't think age is what undid the Lakers.
True.
It was just outside the big three, the squad was as shallow as fuck.
Yeah.
And the big three just never got along. And AD was AD. I don't think there's anything new that we saw from him. LeBron with these injuries, the team, the Westbrook AD LeBron team, regardless of injuries to LeBron, who's still in contention 2 games away from a scoring title, would finish 11th. Like, that's your excuse.
I mean, each of them individually are good enough to take a team to the playoffs by themselves, right?
Correct.
You could see what Jokic is doing at the Denver Nuggets. He's alone over there.
Westbrook did last season with the Wizards. That was a bomb team that he dragged to the playoffs.
Exactly.
And he did it all by himself.
Exactly.
The
last 20 games, he was on a tear.
Yeah. So, I think it was Ace that did the win. So then, it was a garbage decision then, right? No matter what. It was a garbage decision. These are the only 3 people who thought this was a good move, apparently, in the basketball universe and outside. Nobody else said, this is amazing. They're going to kill it. Yeah. So that's that. Pelinka has to take a significant portion of the blame. Now, if I were Genie Boss, I'd be thinking, is this the guy I know the ship needs fixing. And we can talk about should AD go or should LeBron go. But I'd first talk about the GM because deciding whom to let go, and at what cost, like what do you get in return, that wheeling and dealing has to be done by the GM. So your first question to be asked is the GM the right guy to take us into this next phase of repair and maintenance or rebuild?
Okay.
Right. So I'd start there. I'm fine whichever way they go, but I think the question has to start from the GM. And then once they made that call, and I don't know if Rob Pelinka is the guy, because even before this season, prior to the Westbrook season, I thought the Lakers made a bunch of suspect calls. The squad before that also, sure, they could have pulled through maybe with the AD fit and LeBron fit to the finals. Maybe I don't know what they would have done to the Bucks. So there was some suspect decision making. So really, what is Rob Pelinka's contribution here? He got AD. He made that one trade that got AD, that got one chip. Not a small achievement, but Vogel got the chip too. His next on the line. Why should Pelinka be any different? And he gave up Lakers' entire future. Now, even if they want to rebuild, they don't have draft picks. They have nothing. And they got this injury-ridden star that's going to be... There'll be takers, but he's not going to get the kind of value you would have got for AD, let's say, immediately after winning the chip. Because he's relapsed. He's gone to being the same old AD. So unless you expect another pandemic with 5 months of break, it's not the same guy anymore. So Pelinka's got to take a bit of the blame. I won't be surprised if he's let go and then move on from him. AD absolutely has to go. LeBron, let's see. It depends on how much the Lakers want to. If they still believe there are moves to be made and there's enough interest in the market where they can build another championship team around LeBron. Because if you're keeping LeBron, it has to be for the chip. Otherwise, what's the point? Just tear it up, do an OKC or whatever, go from scratch. So if you're giving LeBron, it's for the chip. If there is enough interest in the water, and I imagine there would be. I don't know that there are any big names available, but if some team is foolish enough to trade for Westbrook in exchange for a lot of talent, or AD, they've got two big pieces to move. If they can pull it off, they get a ton of value. Can they put a squad around LeBron to win a chip or contend? If yes, then LeBron stays. If the answer is no, then just tear it up. There's no choice. There's no other choice. What are you going to do? Keep LeBron and build another mediocre squad around him? It's not fair to the org. It's not fair to him either. Because I'd imagine he's still gunning for one more chip. So what's the point?
True. Okay, that'll be interesting to see where that goes, because for the first time ever, I think there are questions asked about will LeBron be traded rather than will LeBron go somewhere.
Yeah.
So I don't think we've seen that before. So that'll be interesting to see. It's difficult to imagine LeBron being traded away, but with the Lakers organization, knowing the Bus family and how they operate, you never know. It's not far away, I would say. But it'll be an interesting conversation to have. But for today, the Lakers are not in the playoff, play-in, whatever. We'll come back and talk to more about the rest of the teams that are in the playoff.
Fun.
All right, then. See you tomorrow. Bye.
Peace.